Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason on this Thursday. You know what? I said, hey, Thursday's going to be the day. Boy, it certainly, well, it probably started yesterday, the biggest sell-off of the year on Wall Street. Gold was up 20 until the last hour, and then it went back to even, and then the first 2 minutes of electronic, when everybody kind of goes home for the day, they took gold down, oil down, crypto down, copper, silver, matter of fact, all out buy on silver today. We'll get to that in a little while. We'll see how it plays out for the rest of the day. Today we had GDP, we had jobless claims. GDP number coming in super hot. I don't know how. I mean, if we're not selling any houses, we're not selling any cars. By the way, oh my Lord, did you see the earnings from Ford, Stellantis? Just brutal what we're seeing. We're seeing all of these stores closing. It seems like now every week another major. This isn't some, brand you've never heard of or some, dying entity. No, these are big retailers saying we're closing hundreds of stores, and yet somehow GDP up 2.8. So remember, the range, 1.5 to 2.5. This is above that range, 2.8% GDP. Jobless claims, hey, they stayed up there. Right? Another 235,000 continuing claims, inching higher yet again. So it's starting to get to that point where I think we're going to see jobless claims creep higher from here, right? Get ready for the 250s, the 260s, because we're starting to see people losing their jobs, not being able to find another one. In other words, they're staying unemployed for longer. Credit card delinquencies, boy, I knew there was a problem. Because, we talked about Bank of America, JP Morgan, right? We knew all of a sudden they're saying, get ready for these larger write-downs. We're all the way back to the financial crisis when it comes to credit card delinquencies. Warren Buffett, by the way, dumped billions of Bank of America stock. If that's not an indicator, I don't know what is. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. But, Jason, a lot of earnings out, really big misses across the board, and yet GDP kind of like making the case for how do you cut rates with GDP at 2.8%, right? That's not a rate-cutting GDP.
No, but it seems like everything else is screaming for a rate reduction. But what is that, mid-September we're going to get that decision? So plenty of time. I mean, look what's happened just in the last 2 weeks across the world. 6 weeks is plenty of time.
You're right about that. Who knows, right? The year of chaos is upon us. I mean, I don't even know where to start. The airlines were out. Southwest, an absolute bloodbath. American. They're talking about, oh, my God, a record amount of people flew on an airplane over 4th of July, but the airlines aren't making any money. And then Ford, man, their shares down 13%. We're just seeing these huge drops in some of these major companies as, once again, Ford is just like, hey, we're just not selling any cars. I mean, the reality is, and Ford's probably one of the better ones because at least, the pickup trucks and whatnot, Stellantis, right? That's your Jeep, right? I mean, they've been the darling. 48% drop in first half net profit. So you don't lose. Oh, but hey, how you doing? Well, profits are down 50%. Yeah, not a very good indicator. And again, it blows the mind of how can we have 2.8% GDP growth if all of these companies are saying, hey, we're not making any money.
Joe, I mean, what all goes into the GDP? I guess if we took a really closer look at what goes into the numbers, I mean, gross domestic product, does that count like the stock market? Does that count like all the money that goes into investing into these companies? Because until this last week or so, I mean, they just kept pushing up and pushing stocks up, and the big money just keeps on putting money in some of these places, and that would make the GDP look good. I mean, look, if it echoes a little bit what's going on in the markets, well, the markets have been talking about how great it is. I mean, well, it's for the last few months. It's not for this month. It's for the last few months.
According to UBS, in the details of that GDP report, investment contributed 8.4%, so quarter over quarter. So there you go, Jason. That's kind of exactly what you were talking about. By the way, that was the highest since Q3 of 2023. A lot of AI, right? So listen, this is what we heard from Google. We heard it from Tesla, right? They're trying to buy as many of these chips, and these chips, they're not made here. But a lot of expenditure in that, and then when we sit there and we look at the rest of it, government, once again, government spending rose 3.1% from the first quarter to this quarter. How? Right? We just can't stop spending. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason will be back right after the break. 9510592. Joe and Jason here on this Thursday. Quick look in at the market. So the markets, the worst day of the year yesterday. Right now, a little bit of a bounce. It's early. We'll see how this shakes out here. But the Dow's up 250. The S&P's up 30. The Nasdaq's only up 7. And the Nasdaq was down like 700 yesterday. The 10-year note, a little bit of a shocker here with that high GDP number. I think a lot of people are, maybe questioning that GDP number. But 4.22 on the 10-year note, I think there's a lot of concern in the banking industry. Remember, who was it yesterday? Was it Deutsche? That came out and said, man, we got a problem. We're going to have to cancel the buybacks. Write-offs are going to be much higher than anticipated. And, of course, then we heard from J.P. Morgan and Bank of America, right? All this week, the same thing about these write-offs. And then we learned this morning that Warren Buffett dumped billions of Bank of America shares. Obviously, that's why he's the best of the best, right? Yeah, hey, I've got to dump them before the whacking of the news comes out. Right now, gold's down $29, 23.68. So kind of hovering around this 23.70. Silver, it's recovering here, almost at $28, but it's down. Less than $1 now, but that's an improvement. Silver was getting hit really hard. Matter of fact, we've got a great silver special coming later, but I'm just figure it out here. Figure it out. I get it. Right? It's the year of chaos, and look at all the crazy crap. Joe Biden, right? I stepped aside to save democracy. That was his message yesterday. What are you talking about? Right? First of all, we don't have a democracy. It's a republic. There's a big difference. We don't want democracy. That's
He's a
mob
legend in
rule.
his own mind.
Who the hell wants mob rule? Right? Nobody wants mob rule. But nonetheless, I know it's just semantics, right? Because that's they've done a great job of keeping us all dumbed down by stuff like this. But yes, the whole world's at stake. The country may come to an end, and that's why I stepped aside, because I couldn't beat Donald, so we're going to get the black lady to do it, and Yes, we got to save it, Jason.
Yeah, that comment, I didn't get to watch it, but that comment saying that did he actually say he's going to save democracy? Is that what he actually said?
Well, he stepped aside to save it. Yes, it wasn't because of his health.
He's that important. He's that important that he's going to save democracy. He's a legend in his own mind, and so every movement is so important. And it's funny because a lot of people, they just go for this. They make their decisions in the world by what the news is telling them, and that it's just a president. I mean, come on, it's just a president. It's really all it is. But Joe, this is what makes people do crazy things and makes economies tilt on the edge, right?
Yeah, well, the edge is that's the part we're worrying about, is when does the edge come? Be diversified. I keep telling you this. Do I need to remind everybody again what the rules are? Do you understand what the rules are? Because they've changed. They're not what you think. Here's the problem. Most people don't know. Most people, because they don't listen, they don't want to be educated. They rather, keep up with the Kardashians. Is that still a thing? Do people keep up with the Kardashians? I don't know. But whoever it is, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and, this political kabuki theater that we have going on and all of this other nonsense. They've changed all the rules. It's funny, at least once a month, we get a call from somebody. Oh my God, I went to my bank and asked them for $5,000, and they, oh my God, they don't have it. And then they asked me all these questions, and I got interrogated, and hello, that's been going on for a long time. Hello, here's the rules. Why do I keep telling you to check out our buddies at Y-Refi? You think I'm doing it just for fun? No, because I'm telling you what the rules are. Whenever they want, they can just tell you no. People don't realize that that's what's in place. Listen, they did it in Greece. They did it in Cyber. I mean, they're going to do it here. They're going to do it everywhere. Oh, you know what? When it gets the times right, I'm going to hit the sell button. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, you wanted to sell your stock today? Oh, I'm sorry. Why don't you check back with us a little later? We'll let you know. Right? Money markets, that may be even the worst. Because not only can they put a penalty on you, not only can they tell you no, if it breaks the buck, they just devalue what you have in there. You just lose. It's like a stock now. It's not how it's supposed to work. You need to be more diversified than ever. These are all signs. When people can't pay their credit cards, we got a problem. Do you know how many people are worried about paying their bills right now, today? It's actually higher than the financial crisis. How can that be? Remember the financial crisis? People who were losing their homes left and right. It's worse. Oh, it's coming. The storm is coming. And you're running out of time. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com. Now, you got to have $50,000 or more. That's just what the rules are. That's not their rules. That's what the SEC makes them do. But you can get up to 10.25% fixed rates of return, not correlated to the stock market. Yesterday was nothing. I mean, the NASDAQ being down 700 points, big deal. Big deal. But what's going to happen when it's down 5,000 points, 10,000 points? Then it's a big deal. Before that happens, get more diversified. Got to have that gold. You got to have your silver put away. You've got to be smart here. Just call them. 888-Y-REFI-24. 888-Y-REFI-24. So on the GDP side, right, we got a surprise, right? And the surprise was, hey, 2.8. That was higher than they thought. Inside of that number, right, we talked about investment, right? we probably saw the best part of that. It's going to be a little harder in the third quarter. By the way, we had durable goods out for June today. Now, of course, that's going to be part of the GDP. I think that my guess is GDP will be lowered. That's my guess. We'll see. But down 6%. Durable goods down 6%. Why? Because no one wants to buy a plane from Boeing. I mean, that's why. I mean, who would? The only thing that they're spending on is military stuff. But according to CNN, it's kind of funny, CNN saying it, right? The great economy that Joe Biden, the guy's so important, he's got to save democracy. Yeah, 39% of U.S. adults worry most or all of the time that their income won't be enough to meet expenses. Yeah. What? 40%? 4 in 10? Now it's starting to make sense, isn't it? Now when we talk about what happened with Bank of America, what happened with J.P. Morgan, when they came out, Deutsche Bank, when they come out and say, oh, by the way, our loan loss reserves, yeah, they're going to start spiking now, right? They're going to start really going the other way. And now we've realized credit card delinquencies just in the last 60 days. Jason, it's gone parabolic here. I mean, we knew, yep. You know, the repo man, right? Repo's up 23% year over year, but now people can't pay the credit card. It kind of makes sense now, this poll, like, hey, 40% of people are like, oh, I'm out of money.
Out of money and have no more room on the credit cards is kind of the last straw before things start to fall apart. I mean, last month I remember seeing those numbers. It was at record levels of just, you know, delinquencies just coming apart at the seams, and now here we are a month later talking about it's even worse now. So this is something that's not easing, it's getting more severe. So yeah, I mean, the credit cards are the first things you don't pay, right, Joe? You're going to keep the lights on, you're going to keep food, you're going to pay the rent. So the credit cards are usually the first ones to stop being paid on. So everything that you've talked about today so far on this show is showing that all of the things that go first are going. And so, you know, 40% of households are worried that they don't have enough income, you know, that number will grow as well. You know, I'm not surprised by that number, Joe. There's so much uncertainty for the average American family. So credit card delinquencies is a big one. That's a big one, Joe, because that's for a lot of people. That I don't rely on credit cards, but for a lot of people, that's a daily part of their economic situation. I mean, how many Americans just, I think it's terrible, carry a balance. You know, and they're paying the interest on it. You know, that's not a good economic situation for you. Paying interest when you know is not, you know, paying free money to the bank when you don't have to is something that drags you down. And well, Joe, what do you do when you're having trouble paying the bills? The responsible family will get the credit card and will buy now, pay later. You know, you hear the stories of people still paying on that taco dinner 20 years later, right? It's unfortunate. It's debt slavery, and get out of. Here's the thing: the things that are happening right now. Gold and silver is really important. Everything we talk about is really important. But having debt with what's getting ready to come in, you know, you got a bunch of debt that you can pay off. That's another thing. If you want to really help yourself out, clear out debt, right, Joe? Because it's not going to be good to be having a whole lot of debt weighing you down when things get really thin and things are already expensive, and then the ability to pay is going to get thinner and thinner, right, Joe?
Well, listen to this. Not only are these delinquency rates all the way back to 2012, we don't know because the Fed just started tracking all the data in 2012, but we're right where we were during the pandemic here. But here's the thing: balances 71% higher. See, this is a much bigger problem. I mean, we had every major bank now, Citi and Wells, B of A, and J.P. Morgan now have all raised loan loss provisions as the amount of people that are now 30, 60, right? Once you get to 90, right, kind of it's Katie by the door, right, after the 90 days, right, these credit card companies are going to have to start writing all of this stuff off. And you got to remember, they make a ton of money on this. I'm thinking balance is 71% higher, 71%.
Yeah.
And people are paying over 20%. Right? Some of them
Joe, just think about
30%.
Think about that 71% higher than the economic crash, and think about half of all money that's floating around in America was printed in 2020 during COVID. 50% of all money, and now you have 71% higher amounts in credit cards. Those numbers seem to fit, Joe. They gave out all this free money, and it still didn't help the problem in place. It slowed the problem down. And now it's all just loaded into debt. Now you got to think about that, Joe. They printed 50% of all the money in existence, and now we have credit, for the average family, 71% higher credit card debt level in the entire country. It all just went into debt, which means it all is being serviced, and interest payments are going into the bankers' pockets. The entire thing is to enrich the wealthy class of this country, Joe.
Absolutely shocking. When we get back, though, we got some great items for you to take advantage. Buy from the dips, on the dips. We'll be back. Stay with us. 800-951-0592. All out buy today on silver. By the way, the 1995s, those were gone. Great opportunity for all of you that got there. Be patient. They're coming out of that IRA, so we're at the mercy of the holding company, the depository. They're not fast shippers, but they're coming. We'll probably have them. Probably won't be to not next week. Probably won't be till the week after. But be patient. If you want to add today, I would. But obviously, you can't do it with 1995. So those are long gone. But U.S. Silver Eagles today. I just went out and looked. We're going to be the cheapest around. Rolls of 20 at $685. If you want to buy a case, that's the green monster box. Right, $17,000 for the case. You're going to save another $5. So take it all the way down to $680 a roll. I'll tell you what, I'll do one better, too. If you want to buy 3 cases, right, tell you what, you save another $5. We'll take it down to $675 a roll if you want to buy 3 cases. So there you have it. Rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles. I don't remember, it's been a while since they've been below $700, but $685. Buy a case, $680. Buy 3 cases, $675 a roll at 800-951-0592. And then on the gold side, $5 liberties. We're going to take those down today to below $700 at $695. So if you're looking at some of that fractional gold again, really good opportunity here. Below $700 at $695 on the $5 liberties at 800-951-0592. And by the way, those pant bars, those are also gone. 10th ounce American Gold Eagles went out of stock this morning. I'm not going to panic about it yet. Hopefully, they'll be back in soon. But it's one of these things where, again, very slowly, while no one's paying attention, these things are happening. And now we're starting to really wonder what is going to be. Listen, these major banks, right, they're setting aside bigger and bigger dollar amounts, but they have it. What is the regional banks? We haven't seen the regionals yet. We haven't seen the smaller banks yet. But when we look at the Federal Reserve, credit card delinquencies across the board, just in the last 60 days, skyrocketing out of control. To give you guys an idea, if you just had a $5,000 balance on a credit card, okay, $5,000. And I mean, I remember $5,000 used to be a lot of money. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of money, but you know what I mean. It's not that much. If you were to make the minimum payment, like this is turning into like student loan type crap. It would take you over 23 years to pay that off, making the minimum payments. I'm not kidding you. The amount of interest you'd pay over $8,000 in interest on a $5,000 balance. This is what has gotten so sideways. I would just say this to people out there that are struggling here. I'd go bankrupt. Do it. Do it. Walk away from this stuff. Especially you're paying 23, 24, 25, 30%. What's the point? What's the point? What, you're going to ruin your credit score? Give me a break. Who cares? I mean, you know, start treating it like a business. I hate this. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm saying it. And here's the reality. That's just not how people operate. They go to the very last, right? They pull out their 401k if they had one. They pulled out all the stops. Their bank accounts are empty. Their credit cards. Why are people all of a sudden worried? Because they're out of room on the credit card. Now what? How am I going to make it next month? I've been surviving with the credit card. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's been a long time since I've seen all of the major banks almost in unison. And, of course, it makes a lot of sense, right? Oh, well, first let's pass the stress test. And, okay, now we'll join in. And, of course, now Citi and Wells, right? All within 72 hours, the four largest banks in America are now saying, hey, by the way, things just got a lot worse, but yet somehow GDP grew 2.8%, allegedly. I mean, we'll see. But then, you know, like I said, we looked at the earnings, right? Look at the earnings that have been coming out. They're just really, really unexpected stuff. And then how about this? Starbucks. That's what makes me nervous, because people get weird about their coffee. They're saying the price of coffee going to continue to rise, and it's only going to get worse. People are going to freak out. I mean, can you imagine when you got to go get your Starbucks and your credit card gets declined, right? You know, man, you've got you got like $8 left on your debit card, and it's Thursday. You get paid tomorrow. You got $8 left, and Starbucks like, no, it's going to cost more than that. They're saying get ready for prices to rise another 5 to 10%. I don't even know what a cup of coffee at a Starbucks is anymore, but yeah, these are things. Listen, this gets people upset. This gets people really anxious. When the latest survey, 85% of people said that their cost to live their life has risen in just the last 2 months. Now, I know they're telling us inflation's slowing. Now, inside this GDP number, inflation came down to 2.9%. They were expecting it to be 2.7. Well, it came in at 2.9. So I guess it's a little hotter, but still down. But that would, and we got to remember, that's how they do math, right? Let's just call it 3%. 3%. When you talk to the actual people out there, they're like, 3% my ass. Right? I think a good rule of thumb, if they tell you 3, it's probably 6. This is the cliff, right? We're like a herd of elephants, and we're getting pushed to the edge of the cliff. And guess what? They're starting to fall over. Patriot Radio News Hour, just a matter of time before banks start falling over. We're back here, Patriot Radio News Hour. Silver Eagles, that doesn't get better than this today. 685, 1 through 24 rolls. If you buy a case, 680. If you want to buy 3 cases, $675. 3 cases of Silver Eagles, $50,625. Then the $5 gold Liberties at $695. 800 951 0592 as news every. How about this? Wow. Southwest Airlines. Now they've had big problems. Most of it Boeing related. They're getting rid of sit wherever you want. Yep, assigned seating coming to Southwest Airlines, and you know what that means. Yep. Oh, you want an aisle, you got to pay more. Right? Oh, a little more leg room, got to pay more. I guess the model's now completely broken. They're Southwest saying they're desperate to increase revenues, and this is the only way to do it. And again, you know, when we look at airfares, it's so expensive. But then again, you know, hey, you want to sit, you want an aisle, you want a window, right? You got to pay extra. You want more legroom, got to pay extra. And now Southwest going the way of everybody else. Don't tell me inflation isn't eating everybody for lunch. And then how about ST Microsemi? So who's ST Microsemi? They're not NVIDIA. No, see, they make the chips that go into the cars. They, for the second time now, have reduced earnings guidance. They're saying that during the quarter, contrary to our prior expectations, customer orders for industrial did not improve and automotive demand declined. So what does that mean? Well, sales got worse. But yet, you know, I guess we had 2.8% GDP growth. According to their CEO, we're facing a longer and more pronounced correction in industrial than we anticipated, and a progressive weakening of demand amplified by the severity of the, let's say it's the severity of lack of demand. So this is a big, big deal. J.P. Morgan saying that despite the quarter where they posted a small beat, they're saying, hey, ST is going to have big, big problems here. And again, this is another one of these indicators. All of the things that people have worried about, how long was it going to take? Remember what we've said from the beginning about inflation. It doesn't go away magically. It doesn't go away when the government spends 3% more this quarter than it did the last quarter. Right? I mean, $35 trillion still not enough, right? It's still not enough. And now we're hearing the airlines, every airline today getting it in the shorts. We heard it from Stellantis. We heard it from Ford. I mean, Ford shares down 13%. Right? Stellantis, Jeep. They're saying profits fell 48% in a quarter. This is a quarter, 48%. And now one of the big chip makers out there is saying, hey, you know what, okay, maybe they want the NVIDIA chips, but the chips that people use to build stuff, yeah, no, nobody's ordering. Nobody's ordering. Here's the problem. That just means nobody's buying. And I think we're really in for a big, I guess, come to Jesus type moment here as we watch all of these things play out. Warren Buffett dumping billions of J.P. Morgan stock today is he did it over the last 6 days. Not today. You only learn about it after he's done it. But, of course, he knew. How big is the problem going to be? How much are loan loss reserves going to have to increase? And, again, it's the big banks. They've got room. They've got room here. They're going to increase, and they're going to increase, I think, dramatically. But regional banks don't have the room. Small banks don't have that kind of room. And we're noticing more and more of these big banks dumping bad assets, which then forces these other banks, right, they're going to have to make adjustments. And how soon, what shock is it going to be that creates the next round of bank failures? We haven't talked about it lately. But I got a bad feeling as this earnings season, because we're just getting started, so we won't hear from these regionals and these smaller banks till later, right? We won't hear from them for a week or two. What's it going to look like? And I think Wall Street right now is starting to sense that hey, maybe things have gotten a little too bubbly, if you will, when you start looking inside of what all of these companies are reporting. It really is something I guess, can the economy survive on NVIDIA chips? I mean, look at Google. Google, hey, they had to spend so much money. Profits weren't very good. Tesla, same thing. Profits not very good. We'll hear from Apple. We'll see how Apple does. It would be interesting to see what they are. And Amazon, right? Because they're the next two big ones to come out. We'll have to watch it all. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour wrapping up this Thursday. The big silver special. Rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles at $685 by 25 rolls or more. $680 a roll. If you want to buy 3 cases, that's 75 rolls. We'll take them down to $675 at 800-951-0592. Digging in on these credit things now. Wall Street Journal reporting J.P. Morgan as an example. Profits were down 9%. But according to the journal, credit card loans rose faster than spending at all of the major banks. So this is big. This is a big shift, and it happened very, very quickly. When digging in what's happening across the board, the people at the lower end are maxed out. J.P. Morgan, by the way, the largest credit card arm in the country. Charge-offs rose by 67% from a year earlier. So that's just off the charts. And listen, they just said this week it's gotten worse. They just said it's gotten worse this week. So I think there's been a big change very, very quickly. And then, not to be outdone, the New York Federal Reserve said the amount of auto loans transitioning to seriously delinquent, that is 90 days plus, skyrocketed in the last quarter. Same thing for credit cards. Those seriously delinquent, once again, skyrocketing in the last quarter. They're saying that borrowers maxed out, Gen Z and millennials the worst. Listen to this. 15% of them are completely maxed out and seriously delinquent. But when you take in all categories, no matter the income level, rose significantly according to the New York Federal Reserve. So I think this is kind of all adding up, isn't it? It's kind of all adding up here as to what's going on inside of the, this, hey, the economy's just humming along here. If you take out government, you take out militarization, Jamie Dimon warning on deficits again. How many more times the guy got to tell people? Guys, we got a problem. This is a house of cards. It's a house of debt. Get more gold and silver put away. Get more diversified. I don't know what else to tell you. This is shaping up here. We knew this was going to come. We did, didn't we? We just didn't know when. How much time? Right? How much were we going to be able to take? And again, we've got a Fed meeting here coming up at the end of this month, but then everyone's talking about September. How much more deterioration will we see with the consumer between now and then? It's going to be interesting to find out as we see these layoffs everywhere. Like I said, no one's buying houses. New home, used home, doesn't matter. No one's buying automobiles. And now the credit card's maxed out. 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're going to come right back with the half-empty cup. Stay with us.